power searing in, had enough to actually harden it, and then it just got worse after.
Yeah.
But from the way it looked, I'm pretty sure I've seen hydraulic fluid, power searing fluid. So I don't know if it's the pump or if the line or when or what. I think you got to see inside the front end of the truck.
I might here in a second.
Good morning. It is just about going on 7 o'clock. I had to go ahead and finish up the video editing. I try to do it in the evenings, but I just ran out of time yesterday because by the time I finished that tomato cover and got it back into place and was done with everything, it was about 6 p.m. So I was really behind yesterday. I was not anticipating the situation with Logan's truck, which honestly didn't take up a huge chunk of my time. I had to call the shop, and then they called me back because it's just like a one-man operation. So he was busy working on something. So I just left a message and he called me back when he got back in. And then we had to drive it over there. And so it is, so we have our like kind of bigger town, and then there's another little small town right next door to us, and it's in that town, but it's on the other side of that town. So we had to drive over there and back. So it probably took out about an hour in the middle of my day. But when I first got up in the morning and realized all the work I needed to do and found the damage to the crop cover, which I don't know if that happened that night or if it happened sometime over the weekend. The fact that no squirrels had gotten into my tomatoes yet, I think it was probably that night. And it took a little bit to figure out what the heck happened because there was no evidence of anything. Like it hadn't stormed, there were no limbs, so like no limb fell on it or anything like that. But as I was wandering the yard, kind of doing some things, cutting off some of the little trees, because the grass is not tall, so I can't mow. It's just been dry and hot. So I'm not going to put any unnecessary stress by mowing. But all the little trees from the oak tree in the corner of my backyard that drops acorns everywhere in the fall were all sprouting up. So I needed to cut those off. So I just did that with my weed eater. And while I was doing that, I found deer poop in the yard and it was fairly big. So Logan went out and looked at it with me too and confirmed my suspicion. We are pretty confident that it was a buck that was in the yard. I was kind of curious at first because it hadn't eaten anything except for my impatiens while we were gone. And it makes sense because I get hair from my hairdresser and sprinkle it around everything and it keeps the deer away pretty well. But the hanging baskets didn't have any hair in it. And when I took them down and put them near the sprinklers so they could get water while we were gone, that was the one plant that was not protected. And so it ate all of those off. And so that paired with the big pile of deer poop we found in the yard, I'm pretty confident that that particular deer, that buck, got his antlers caught in because it was just like a mesh crop cover. And this is its second year, so it was starting to get pretty brittle, and just shredded it. And I was planning on doing exactly what I did yesterday anyway, but I didn't want to have to do it until next spring when I was getting ready for that following growing season. I was planning on just continuing with the mesh throughout the rest of the season, but that deer had other plans for me. And then, so I had to go to Menards twice. And I don't know if you've ever had to stretch chicken wire, but it's not flexible. Like it looks like it should be because it's so flimsy, but it's so hard to stretch it out and keep it. Like it just doesn't flatten. It just instantly springs back closed as soon as you let go of it. So it's kind of a pain in the butt. And then you have to use wire snippers and cut each and every little piece to get it cut apart. You can't just zip it like you would with a pair of scissors. So it's a lot more time consuming than I anticipated. But anyway, I got that done. I'm still feeling like on the way home, I was feeling very refreshed and rejuvenated and ready to jump back into routines. And after yesterday, I'm just feeling kind of stressed because I wasn't anticipating all of that. I swear I had to stop and start the soup I was making 3 times to get it done. So like the time that I started it and the time that I finished it, there was a 2 to 3 hour gap in there. So it was just one of those days. And now I still have crap scattered everywhere from when we got home. Like I unloaded and unpacked everything and put all the food away and put all of our kind of personal stuff back away, like, shampoos and sunscreen and all of that. But I still need to do laundry, and there's still some stuff that just kind of got stacked in place and still needs put away. I got 0 dishes done yesterday because I didn't have time. So of course I made 2 things. I made banana bread and soup. So all of that is still in my sink and needing to be dealt with. I've got to unload the dishwasher and do all of that stuff today. So I'm still feeling a little bit of stress and pressure just because I did not accomplish any of the things that I really needed to accomplish yesterday because I had to deal with kind of some I don't know that I would necessarily call it crisis, but I felt like I was in a little bit of crisis mode, just fixing things. So anyhow, I'm going to go ahead and take you outside because I did not get to show you the finished product because when I had like literally 2 seconds of footage and then it said memory card full and the camera quit recording and I didn't know it. So the whole thing of me putting the crop cover back in place and tying it down and all of that was just not there. So we're going to go out and take a look at that. I will do the meal plan later on today at lunchtime. And that's probably going to be it for this video just because I've got so much stuff that I need to get done, and kind of another miniature source of stress. I do enjoy vlogging and editing, obviously, or I would not be doing it. But because everything was so chaotic yesterday, but I knew that I also needed to film it because Monday was a travel day. So it was on the last vlog instead of on this vlog like it normally would be. So I felt like I had to film everything that I was doing. And it just, as I've said a million times, when you film something, it takes, 2 to 3 times longer to do that thing because of stopping and starting and moving the camera and adjusting settings and all of that stuff. And then by the time I was done at 6 p.m., I had done zero editing because I just didn't have time. So then I had to do all of it, an entire day's worth of footage, which was way more than I normally will film in a day. There was definitely a lot of pressure, and I'm definitely feeling it today. But I think after today, things should start to calm down and feel normal again. But anyway, I'm going to stop rambling. We're going to go outside, and I'm going to show you the tomato cover. All right, we'll see how far we make it before the mosquitoes start eating me alive again, because it's still cloudy this morning. But this is it, back in place. So I have chicken wire around these 3 sides and then across the top. And then I have, again, just anchored them down with this little guide wire down to a tent stake. Hi, Miss Emily. Somebody's glad Mama's home. She's been extra snuggly. And back to this. For the doors, I won't be able to get very far back because I've got this other bed right here. But I zip tied together. had to do 3 strips. I was going to do originally 1 4-foot strip where I could just roll it up, but they didn't have 4 foot. They just had 2 foot, and then it didn't end up being an actual 2 feet. So I had to improvise. But what I did, let me see if I can zoom this back a little bit. No, I don't think it'll let me zoom out. But I did 1 door on this side, 1 door on that side, and then I tied them down the center so that when I need to get in there, I can just untie it and kind of fold it back. Now it is secured across the top with zip ties and down the side, and then 1 zip tie down there. But that way I can kind of fold it back this way and get inside to access all of the tomatoes, which I do have to come out at some point today. I picked all of the ripe tomatoes yesterday, but I do still need to do the copper fungicide on them because I did not get around to that yesterday. I also did not get around to the front yard yesterday to do that with the pumpkins either. I just ran out of time. But one thing I still need to do, so you can see like this bamboo pole is leaning, and that's because I had it tied off to this frame. And I had to obviously cut it loose to take the frame off. So I need to get in there and re-secure those as well this morning. But that is it. That is the finished product, all in place and anchored back down. I don't know. Hopefully this will last a while. The frame that it's on, I can tell you, will eventually start to rust. But since I have it sitting mostly on top of mulch, it should take a while because it's not like in the dirt like my old ones used to be. So anyway, I have probably talked enough this morning. So I'm going to hop off of here and I'm going to get the vegetables all sprayed with the copper fungicide. And then it'll be time to clock into work. Miss Ember says hello too. You don't see her near as much because she's very old. She's 17, so she's usually just snoozing on the pillows on my bench. So she doesn't come out and say hello near as much as Emily does. But this is my old lady, Miss Ember. And one other thing I have to finish today at some point is setting this all back up. I closed it because the wind always will blow that umbrella over, and I just didn't want it to blow over and land on my bird bath, which is where it always kind of lands, is in that direction, and break it while I was gone. And I kind of hate lowering it because this mosquito netting just like wraps around the edges. So when you lower it, it falls off. So I have to put it all back up. And I need to deal with this mess. I took down my little wading pool because the bottom ring finally sprung a leak. So there really wasn't much left of it. So I need to deflate that and empty out my little wagon, take care of all that stuff. That probably won't be today. I have enough to do inside, but all right. I said I was going to stop talking, so let's do it, huh? All right. I have been on the phone with insurance companies because our auto policy just came up for renewal, and it's gone up. It already went up 20% in February, and now it's gone up about another 25%. So for my car, it went up 22. For Hunter's car, it went up 27, and you have a Roz nose in If you could see that, Roz is nosing at the camera right now. Anyway, and almost 30% for Logan's truck. So I decided it was time to start shopping around. I really didn't think we were going to have much luck because Hunter had a total loss accident and we have accident forgiveness with American Family, supposedly, but apparently that doesn't mean much because I'm finding that insurance rates are a lot lower elsewhere, even with their driving records, because Logan even had a little minor like fender bender, basically put a scratch on somebody's truck because he backed into it at a gas station. But anyway, y'all don't care. I know. I'm just excited because I'm going to save like $1,000 a year on my homeowner's insurance, and our car insurance is going to be a lot lower. Mine personally will be about $100 every 6 months higher, but my boys is both going to drop significantly. And I'm still waiting to hear back from one company, and I'm meeting with my current agent tomorrow just to see if he can do anything, which I seriously doubt it. But anyway, we're going to jump into the reason you're all here, and that is for the meal plan. So as always, I will have this on the screen here, and let's get into it. So for next week, it's not quite soup season yet, but I'm in the mood for it. So I'm doing another soup. I made minestrone yesterday just on a whim, and so for next week, I'm going to do a veggie curry soup. Now, the recipe itself, which I will link below and also in my blog post, is for a crock pot version, but I'm not going to do that. I'd rather just throw stuff in a pot and cook it through, and it's just done quicker that way. I guess if you're not like me working from home, if you're going into the office and you wanted to set it in the morning to be done for lunch, or set it for lunch to be done for dinner or whatever, then the crock pot version might be the way to go. But that is my plan for next week. And as always, I am going to have this live on my blog. It will be tonight, the day that I'm filming this, at 5 p.m. So by the time you're seeing this, it will be out there. So if you want to go and download the PDF version of this meal plan and follow along with me, and also the link for the recipe will be there as well if it's easier for you to find that way. So hop over there and check that out. The link to my blog is in the description and also in my bio here on YouTube. And that is going to do it for the meal plan. So I will see you back here next week to make some soup.